For this training video, we are going to look at a CMA report, and let's say that you and some clients went and looked at a house and they're considering writing an offer, but just want to make sure they know kind of what the fair market price for that house is. So we're going to say that you all went and looked at this home in Crestwood, and we're just going to look at the surrounding areas to see what things are selling for. Now, what I typically do is pull up the listing and then pull up a new tab of the Flex MLS to compare the two. When you are talking to a client about comparables, you just have to remember that some of it is the details of kind of what is the square footage, price per square foot, and kind of more the analytical mindset. Bedroom count, bathroom count, finished basement, all of those things are a little bit more obvious, but you just can't forget about the emotional, aesthetic side of things also. It may be a smaller house, but your client loves the layout or loves the lot. So some things are intangible, which is why we don't have obviously a perfect system for comps, but I'll just kind of get you what is typical to look in the area, and then you may have to just use some of your discretion there. So when you go to quick search, this is going to be looking in surrounding areas. What I typically do is I go to the zip code first just to narrow it down. So we are in 40014. And then you want to look at the specific map to see what part of Oldham County or wherever you are. So you can see that this is kind of in a neighborhood area. You just want to zone in on that. Here we are. So I'm going to draw, so you can use this feature down here to draw a radius. So I'm going to go kind of here on some of these streets that are surrounding, and double click to be able to lock in that area. So that's the home there. So you can see that's based off of the plats that it's a subdivision, so we've got that, and if we need to widen it more, I'll show you how we can. You can click on that and just say edit shape. You can move it out, you can move it in, whatever you need. Exit back out there, and then double click if you need to zoom or whatever you need. I'm going to click outside the polygon to counteract that. So when we're looking at comps, we want to look at the active, but also the active under contract, the pending, the closed. I look at all of these just because it's also important to see what's been temporarily off market or whatever it is. It automatically defaults to 1 year back. Sometimes if you don't get a lot of good results, you see maybe there's not a lot of turnover in this area, you could go a little farther. Just be aware that the farther back you go, the less reliable it is, because typically a year is kind of what we want to go to. Property subtype, this is a single family home. You don't want to accidentally get some condos in there. Then you're going to narrow down the bedroom bathroom count. You can narrow down anything that you want, but the more you narrow down, the less options you're going to have. So if we go back to the details, we're going to see that this was a, where are we? 4-bed, 2 full, 2 half bath, so 4-bed, 4-bath. So I'm going to type in 4-bed and see, so that still gave us 7. Bathroom, minimum 2. So if you narrow it down too much, then it could take away some of your good comps. So I'm just going to keep it that, because if it's a 3-bathroom, 3 full bath instead of 2.5 bath. Just use your discretion there. You'll play around with it, but you want more to choose from. Square footage, so the total finished we're looking is 2,792. So I'm going to put the minimum is 2,400, and then looks like all of them are probably going to be similar price or size, but I'm going to see max 3,000. See if I get some good options there. So we've only got one, which is ours. So I'm going to take that away. And then I'm going to widen this up just a little bit more. See if I can get some more things in there. We don't want to get too far out of this neighborhood, but we also want to get a few more if we can find some. Okay. Well, maybe. Okay. So basements, you can decide if you want a certain kind. I don't want to narrow it down too much, so what I'm going to do is going to say not of none. So I'm saying all of the comps I want to look at, I want them to have a basement. I don't want any comps that have none, not of none. It's kind of confusing. Garage parking, I'm not going to narrow it down. This one, I'm sure, yeah, it has a 2.5 car garage that's attached, so we'll factor that in, but I'm not going to limit it to it. Again, use your own discretion on those. You can just look through. Also important to just play around in this. You may want to do comps in your own neighborhood and different things. You can add a field if there's something else that you are wanting to compare it to. You can add any of these fields to your search. Okay, so let's see what we got. So I'm going to say 8 results is what we got, which is a pretty good starting point. You see there's not a ton of turnover in this section. I like to sort mine by price, but you can sort it by anything you want. So I'm going to do the most expensive ones up top. So you see that this one was $480, but it's 4-bed, 5-bath, 3,000 square feet. It's kind of top end there, so that's not a very good comparable. Going down, a 5.5. So here's a pretty good one, a 4.3. So let's grab that. And again, I can say here. So maybe I see, oh, there's, I don't want any that has 5 bedrooms. So maybe I go here. So max 4. So we only want to see 4 bedrooms. So that gave us 7 results. So again, you can just keep filtering, keep playing around, and see what works for you. This one closed a 4.4, 3,000 square feet. This one is this. You see these are some active ones. That's a new build. You can tell just from the sketch. It's been on the market a long time. So that's not going to be as good of a comparable. Let's look at this one here. And this one is a lot smaller. So also, pretty significantly off on price. Not saying that these people are exactly right, but that's probably not as good as of a comp. So we've got 3 comps selected. So then what I would do is I would just go through the details and just see, okay, this has an unfinished basement also. This has a finished basement. This has partially finished, partially unfinished. So 3,019 square feet. So it has, 300 more square feet there. Let's see kind of the photos. I would look through this. I would send these to your clients and just, see what they think, if it's the same. Because again, they may love something about the house you all looked at today more than this one, and they may have a totally different opinion than you do. So you just want them to look through the pictures and say, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Think through the lot. Think through the neighborhood. I think most of these in this area are pretty similar as far as, you know, lots and sizes, but always something to consider. So then this one was the finished basement and has a 3-car garage. I think this one had a 2.5-car garage. So that is pretty good comp. So let's see with this one having a finished basement. You can kind of look through. Kitchen may not be quite as updated. Try and think through the pros and cons of all of them. All pretty basic. So the basement is finished. It looks like it's a little bit choppy. So after you look through all of these and you kind of feel like you've got a good range, this list price is $399. You've showed them a $425, a $410, and a $389.9 on the same area. And looking through, their square footage is kind of right there in the middle. Bedroom count, bathroom count. So these are 3 pretty good comps. So we're going to go to a CMA. You selected. For this, I'm going to go to the full CMA. Press next. When it says for, I typically just put in the property address, or you can put in your client's name. And it's going to give you a nice report. So most of this is automatic. On this next step, this is really nice that it does for you when you do a full report. You can go to the listing, copy and paste this list number, put it into this auto-populate, and then it will pull up all of the information, including the picture, from the house that you're looking at and wanting to compare it to. So I just click through here. It's just running all of the different reports, and you'll get all of them in a nice printout. So we're going to go to next steps. So I typically, this is just part of it. This is only calculating from the comps you pulled and the averages. So this really isn't something that you want your buyer or seller to hang their hat on. So what I typically do when you go to next steps is I don't display that. I mean, it's good for you to see the median, but again, it doesn't take into account any of the interior, and a lot of it is just the numbers side of things. So that's not always a good idea to, once they have that number in their brain, that's all they can think of, and so it may be best not to, but that's your decision there. Everything else will show you kind of what it pulls up. So you can email it directly to your client, you can save it, you can download it. We're going to view this report. This also just shows your client, hey, I've done my research. I'm working hard for you. Emailing them this nice packet is just an extra step in level of service. So you can show them that all of your comps were within the same area, and then kind of looking through, it gives them their subject, and then you can see them all next to each other. Now, this is good even for you if you're just looking at comps, because look, when I was going through, I wasn't paying that close of attention to the days on market. But when you're looking here, these days on market are, this area stays on market a little longer than some of the others. And you want to look at the original price and the sold price. So what we see on the MLS after it's sold is the sold price, but it's important to see, like, okay, well, what did they try and list it at, and how does that compare to what my people have listed it at? Are they being a little bit more aggressive? So I think that it's going to sell quickly, or do I think it's, there's time for it to sit on the market? Just all factors to think through. And then it gives you these great charts and just analysis of the area. And then this is the full information about what you've got. So that's just kind of another way to do comps. Again, the best thing you can do is just to play around with it, um, to just try and keep tweaking and finding ways that work for you. When you go to this quick search, try a few different ways and see if you can find some different methods that are great for you. And yeah, just start getting at it.